Gary, Indiana, once a bustling hub of industry, now a ghost town, its streets echoing with the whispers of a forgotten past. A city with a tough past, scarred by economic hardship. Factories that once roared with life now stand silent, their windows shattered, their walls crumbling. But beneath the surface, something darker lurks. Shadows that move with a life of their own, whispers that chill the spine. A darkness that reached out from the shadows, gripping one family in its clutches. A malevolent force that seemed to feed on fear and despair. This is the story of the Demon House, a house that became infamous, not just in Gary, but across the nation. A story that will chill you to your core, a tale of terror that defies explanation, leaving those who hear it questioning the very nature of reality. The house stood on Carolina Street, a seemingly ordinary home in an already troubled neighborhood, a beacon of evil in an already troubled neighborhood. Its walls seemed to breathe with a life of their own, its windows dark and foreboding. It was here that the nightmare began, a nightmare that would consume all who entered, leaving them forever changed. A nightmare that would draw in paranormal investigators, law enforcement, and even medical professionals, all seeking answers to the unexplainable events that unfolded within its walls, all caught in the web of the unexplainable. Each step they took deeper into the house, the more they felt the oppressive weight of its dark history. The Demon House became a symbol of the darkness that can plague even the most ordinary of places. A reminder that evil can lurk anywhere, waiting for the right moment to strike. It became a case study in the terrifying power of the unknown, a chilling example of how the supernatural can intersect with our everyday lives, leaving an unforgettable mark on all who dared to investigate its secrets. The story of the Demon House is not just a tale of horror, but a stark reminder of the mysteries that lie just beyond our understanding. In 2011, Latoya Ammons and her family moved into the house on Carolina Street, unaware of the horrors that awaited them. The house, nestled in a quiet neighborhood, seemed like the perfect place for a fresh start. The family was filled with hope and excitement as they unpacked their belongings and began to settle in. Little did they know their dream home would soon become a nightmare. They were a normal family seeking a fresh start. Latoya, a single mother, worked hard to provide for her 3 children. They were close-knit, supporting each other through thick and thin. The move to Carolina Street was supposed to be a new chapter in their lives, a chance to leave behind past struggles and build a brighter future. But their hopes for a brighter future would soon be shattered. The house, which once felt like a sanctuary, began to change. It started with small, almost imperceptible things, a sense of unease that grew stronger with each passing day. It started subtly, strange noises in the night, the creaking of floorboards, whispers that seemed to come from nowhere, and the feeling of being watched. Latoya tried to brush it off, attributing it to the house settling or her imagination. Shadows moving in the periphery. At first they were fleeting, barely noticeable, but soon they became more pronounced, more menacing. The family began to feel a presence, something dark and malevolent lurking just out of sight. Then the activity escalated. Objects moved on their own. Furniture would be found in different places. Items would disappear, only to reappear in odd locations. The once orderly home descended into chaos. Unexplained voices whispered through the darkness. The whispers were unintelligible, but filled with malice. They seemed to come from the walls, the floors, the very air around them. The family was terrified, unable to escape the constant barrage of eerie sounds. The children, most vulnerable to the unseen forces, began to exhibit bizarre and disturbing behavior. They spoke of seeing figures that no one else could see, of being touched by invisible hands. Their once happy and carefree demeanor was replaced by fear and anxiety. Latoya, a devout woman, initially sought solace in her faith. She prayed fervently, hoping for divine intervention. She clung to her rosary, finding comfort in the familiar rituals of her religion. But as the events grew more intense, her faith was tested. But as the events grew increasingly sinister, she knew she was dealing with something beyond the realm of the explainable. The house was no longer just haunted, it was possessed by a malevolent force that seemed intent on destroying her family. Something evil had taken root in her home, and it was tormenting her family without mercy. The once hopeful move to Carolina Street had turned into a living nightmare, and Latoya knew they had to find a way to escape the darkness that had enveloped their lives. As the family's torment escalated, medical professionals were called in. What they witnessed defied logical explanation. Dr. Jeffrey Onyukwu, a respected physician, examined the children and was left stunned. One of the children, under some unknown influence, walked backward up a wall in the hospital. Doctors and nurses, their eyes wide with disbelief, could only watch in horror. Medical reports, usually grounded in scientific observation, now bore chilling accounts of unexplainable phenomena. The children spoke of being choked by unseen hands, of shadowy figures lurking in their rooms. Their words, filled with terror, painted a vivid picture of the horrors they faced. The medical community, accustomed to rational explanations, was left baffled. Even seasoned police officers trained to deal with the harshest realities of life were drawn into the nightmare unfolding on Carolina Street. The house, now infamous, had become a focal point of fear and speculation. It wasn't just another call, it was a descent into the unknown, a place where the rules of reality seemed to bend and break. Officer Charles Austin, a veteran of the Gary Police Department, responded to a call at the house. He had seen his fair share of strange and unsettling situations, but nothing could have prepared him for what he was about to encounter. The call had come in like any other, but the moment he arrived, he sensed something was terribly wrong. He would later describe his experience as the most unsettling of his career. The look in his eyes, the tremor in his voice, all spoke volumes about the terror he felt. It was as if the house itself was alive, watching, waiting, and ready to pounce. He witnessed firsthand the children's disturbing behavior, their eyes glazed over, their voices taking on an unnatural tone. These were not the innocent voices of children. They were something else entirely, something that sent shivers down his spine. The way they moved, the way they spoke, it was as if they were under the control of a malevolent force. He saw objects move independently, as if controlled by an unseen force. Chairs slid across the floor, doors slammed shut on their own, and small items floated in the air before crashing down. It was a scene straight out of a horror movie. But this was no fiction, it was happening right before his eyes. The air in the house was heavy, charged with an oppressive energy that sent chills down his spine. It was as if the very atmosphere was thick with malevolence, making it hard to breathe, hard to think. Every step he took felt like a journey deeper into a nightmare from which there was no escape. Officer Austin, a man of logic and reason, found himself questioning everything he thought he knew. His training, his experience, none of it seemed to matter in the face of what he was witnessing. He had always believed in the tangible, the explainable, but this was beyond anything he had ever encountered. The events at the Demon House transcended the boundaries of his training, leaving him shaken and disturbed. He had faced danger before, but this was different. This was a confrontation with the inexplicable, with something that defied all logic and reason. It was a haunting experience that would stay with him forever. He knew with chilling certainty that he had encountered something truly evil. It was a realization that would haunt him, a dark memory that would linger in the corners of his mind. The Demon House was not just a place, it was a manifestation of pure malevolence, a reminder that some things are beyond human understanding.